Y'all ever wondered who the real Black Panthers were? Well, here's a movie with some history. The Black Panther Party for self-defense was said to have started when Bobby Seale and Huey Newton were arrested by the police. They realized it was time for their people to stand up for themselves. The first one to join them was little Bobby, followed by Tyrone. But for Judge, it started when a young boy got hit by a car in their neighborhood. In Oakland, 1967, a boy was casually riding his bike in town. He gets happy when a woman's skirt blows up. But his mood is changed when a fugly pig pretends to shoot him. Suddenly, he is run over. Panthers Bobby and Tyrone approach some black men, asking for help. Reverend Slocum will be leading a peaceful protest, asking for a stoplight at the intersection, something that they've asked for a long time. The Panthers need help in writing down the badge numbers of the officers who will show up. Many refuse to join, but Judge and his best friend, Cy, decide to participate. To their surprise, it's just them, Bobby and Huey. As the vigil happens, the cops show up as expected. They ask everyone to go home, or they will be arrested, but the people continue to sing. So the police move forward, covering their badges, hitting and dragging anyone as they go. Judge hits an officer to protect his mother, and the next thing he knows, he has a gun pointed at his face by a wrinkly sour cream man. Inside the jail, Reverend encourages them to pray, but Huey, on the other hand, exclaims that they should practice their constitutional rights and arm themselves, something that Bobby has agreed on. Huey announces power to the people, only to be laughed at by the others. When they get out, the Panthers decide to maneuver the traffic themselves. Cy joins the Panthers, but Judge wants to focus on his studies. His mother even warns him about the Panthers, saying she heard they were communists. FBI agent Rogers visits Chief Dorsett to talk about the Bay Area and the Panthers operating there. Director Hoover reminds him that the FBI is willing to help if needed. Dorsett shrugs it off, saying that the Panthers Party is not even dangerous. But Agent Rogers wants them monitored, so Detective Brimmer is dispatched. However, all he sees are the Panthers trying to direct traffic. Cy even warns Sabu not to sell drugs in the neighborhood. During a gathering, the Panthers receive an invitation from another group of Panthers from San Francisco. Betty Shabazz will be flying in, and they need additional men to guard her. So the group meets up with the other Panthers as soon as possible. Knowing they need money to buy guns, Bobby bought all the Mao Zedong's book of quotations he could find for just 30 cents. Then they sell it for $1 in universities. Some white students want to join the Panthers, but Huey tells them it's important that black people do it for themselves. After that, they set up a meeting aiming to sign up more. They emphasize that the Panthers have a set of rules to follow. However, most of the visitors expect they'd be given guns if they sign up. When they realize there's none, they walk away. Because of his experience in Vietnam, Judge agrees to help the Panthers in purchasing their guns. Soon, the Panthers regularly patrol the area. One night, they catch a cop beating up a black man. They get out of the car with their guns and uniforms, prompting the officers to confront them instead. The Foyne Huey bravely announces they're not violating any laws. The police officers can't do anything else, so they just decide to walk away. When Agent Rogers gets his hands on one flyer, he reiterates that the Panthers should be taken seriously. After that night, more people start to join. On February 21, 1967, it's Shabazz's first appearance since Malcolm died, and there are a lot of people waiting to see her. The Panthers, all armed, try to make sure no photos will be taken per the request of Betty Shabazz. Even with a bit of trouble with a paparazzi, the police can't arrest any Panther because they are not breaking any law. Later, Judge shares that the other group of Panthers' guns are not even loaded. They turn back to confront them. Huey is furious because something bad could have happened. He threatens the group's leader, Bakar, to change their name, or they'll get in trouble. In the end, Bakar agrees not to use the name Panther anymore. Huey tells Judge that the police will try to plant a spy in the group, and it's probably going to be him. So Huey wants Judge to play the part. Soon, women also join, asking to be full-fledged members. The Panther Party continues to help their community, and as expected, Judge is approached by Detective Brimmer. He offers Judge some money in exchange for his help. In Richmond, California, in 1967, a young man was shot by police who said that he was stealing a car. The Panthers are asked to come over by the family. During the rally, Huey points out that the police report regarding Denzel Dowell's arrest and the evidence don't really match, adding that the gunshot wounds show the boy had his hands up when he was shot. Even with cameras nowadays, police still get away with murder. Tyrone sees Judge being taken by an officer. He wants to do something, but Huey stops him. The Panthers enter the police station unarmed. Inside, they demand a fair investigation for the case of Dowell. The chief says if they have problems with the law, then it's with the legislature. Brimmer warns Judge that the Panthers will lose and that he should pick the winning side. To their disappointment, the law is changing, and soon they won't be able to carry their guns. To make a change, the Panthers will head to the Capitol. However, Huey will stay behind. Judge lies about the cop incident, saying his driver's license is expired. Sometime after, the Panthers march to the Capitol to send a message against the Mulford Act. 26 Panthers are arrested, and Bobby is locked up for 6 months. Director Hoover of the FBI strongly believes that communists run the Panther Party, and he's determined to find who's behind it. Communism seems to be a common scapegoat throughout American history. Big Back Brimmer is pissed that Judge didn't tell him about the Capitol and threatens to throw him off the bridge. Now he wants Judge to set the Panthers up for armed robbery. Before the detective leaves, he gives some money to Judge for his tuition. Sabu is selling drugs again, so Sai beats him up to teach him a lesson. Some cops see what's happening, and they encourage Sabu to stand up for himself. When Tyrone goes to Judge's house, he sees his driver's license. Now he thinks that Judge lied because he's a real spy. A new member is introduced, Eldridge Cleaver, a journalist and their newly appointed Minister of Information. Judge tells Huey about Brimmer's order, but Huey is not a bit worried. The next day, Dave Chappelle lookalike shows Judge what happens to suspected spies. The argument is halted when Judge hears that Sai has been shot. When he gets there, it's already too late. Fearing that more will die, Judge calls Brimmer and agrees to do the setup. A few days later, the Panthers are on patrol when Judge tells them to pull over. Judge goes in and robs an old man. And on cue, the cops arrive to arrest all the Panthers in the car, with Detective Brimmer allowing Judge to escape. It'd really be your own people. The others are taken into custody, and the old man is asked to identify the robber. However, it turns out that he's blind, so the Panthers are released eventually. Seeing how devastated Judge is, Rose reveals that it was Sabu who killed Sai. However, Sabu has already moved out of town. Eldridge insists that they should create their own image. So now the Panthers also have their own newspaper. They are even invited to join the rally for the Peace and Freedom Party. Jamal isn't sold on the idea, so Huey agrees to join, but says it's not a full-fledged alliance. During Huey's speech at the rally, he declares that the Black Panther Party is against the war in Vietnam. At the same time, Brimmer arrests Judge and beats him up. When he returns to the office, he learns that the FBI is taking over. When Brimmer sees Agent Pruitt, he can't believe that a black man is joining them in bringing down the Black Panther Party. However, Pruitt is determined to follow orders, and Director Hoover thinks that the Panther Party is their enemy. From that point forward, several offices of the Black Panthers have been targeted and demolished. The offices are bombed and the members are harassed. One of them is Gene McKinney. Later that night, he's in the car with Huey when they are pulled over by some cops. Huey is searched and dragged, and suddenly shots are fired. Huey is down, and so is one officer. At the hospital, the cops cuff him and beat him up before he even gets stitched up. When Bobby's finally released, it's Huey that's in prison. Then Martin Luther King Jr. dies. Riots are everywhere, and more join the party after realizing they have to fight back. Eldridge, too, feels like they have to use their guns. Bobby is against this. If they are reckless, they can get Huey in more trouble. But Eldridge defies the order. One night, he takes a group, including little Bobby, to ambush a police car. However, they soon find themselves outnumbered. Eldridge takes little Bobby to hide with him, and the house is caught in a hail of bullets. Aware that they have nowhere else to run, Eldridge tells the boy to take off his clothes and raise his hands so the police won't shoot him. When they finally walk out, Eldridge is naked, but Bobby is fully clothed. Suddenly, an officer shoots little Bobby dead. They even plant a gun on him. Bobby Seale needs to raise money for Huey's trial, so he leaves Alma and Tyrone in charge. Eldridge's bail is paid, and they ask him to move away. Hoover thinks that the problem is getting out of control, so he orders the activation of the ultimate contingency plan. Soon, Pruitt, Dorset, and Rogers meet up with Tynan to activate their last resort. All I see is receding hairlines. Tynan assures that the drugs will stay within the area. Their plan is to flood the neighborhood with the drugs and get them all addicted. Pruitt reminds Tynan that it's not an issue of race, but of law and order. Oh, that sounds familiar. During a rally, there's a white woman wearing a pin that says honkies for Huey. In the speech, he says they are declaring war against black people. It's America's history always declaring war when countries don't deserve it. Eventually, he incites the crowd to say they must stop them by any means necessary. During Huey's trial, Gene McKinney testifies that Huey didn't shoot first, but he also refuses to say anything more than that. Brimmer takes Judge away and tells him to leave the place for good. He reveals the plan to flood the neighborhood with cheap drugs and store them in the warehouse. Judge tells Huey about it, and Huey orders him to stop it. Sometime after that, Tyrone receives a phone call saying that Bobby has been arrested. Rogers also lies and says it was Judge who ratted him out. That night, Sabu kills Rose for snitching on him. When Judge returns to the office, Tyrone is ready to confront him. However, a police car outside starts firing at them. This gives Judge the chance to reveal the plan about the drugs and the warehouse. Tyrone asks to see it for himself. When they arrive, they see Sabu and his friend, Shorty, doing business. They enter the warehouse, and before they know it, shots are fired and they're fighting for their lives. Sabu gets killed, but Tyrone is badly wounded. Police officers have arrived outside, and they ask everyone to surrender. Tyrone refuses to give up. He asks for a lighter and burns the place down. Then he fires at the police, which finally ends his life. After everything, they finally get the stoplight they're asking for. Unfortunately, drugs are pumped into the neighborhood to destroy them, and it soon overflowed into the country. The Panthers continued with their programs until they were eventually stopped. They soon find out that Hoover used illegal tactics to stop them. Huey is already dead, and Bobby's now a teacher. There were 300,000 addicts in the US in the 70s, and today there are millions. This was a very depressing movie to watch, but very important for those who don't know the history. What did you guys think of this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.